Hello, and welcome once again to another live stream of SYWK podcast. My name is Desmond, and you are watching the live stream of SYWK podcast. So, welcome everyone. And to begin with, really sorry, I fell off to sleep. I was supposed to start the live stream, you can say 1 hour back, and I'm 1 hour late. So, really sorry. So, I had my early dinner, and in Oman, it was raining today. The weather was really beautiful, so I just fell off to sleep, and then suddenly I got up 10 minutes before I got up, and I thought, oh my god, I'm once again late. So, really sorry, everyone, and let me know in the comments if you can hear me, if my audio is fine, video is fine, if everything is fine, then we can go ahead. Doctor on Wheels is already there. Hani Pasha is a mic check. Hello, Hani Pasha. How are you? Voice check, internet check, breakfast check, popcorn check. So, yeah, Hani Pasha, Doctor on Wheels. Welcome and welcome everyone, whoever is listening to the stream. So, to begin with, this is going to be a chill stream. Okay, I don't have a lot of stories. So, basically, in my last live stream, we had decided that we are going to discuss on a particular topic, and this week the topic was World War II ghost stories. But my co-host Swati Rao, I don't think so she'll able to join in today, so that is why we will not be able to discuss that. But whenever she is there, whenever she joins, then we can discuss further. Hani Pasha is saying, where is Alex? Even I have the same question. Where is Alex? Where is he? But I guess he is working, and then it becomes too late for him to stay up, and in India it's already 12:30, 12:45, I guess. So I'm not sure if he's available. Then for sure he will be joining. If he's not, then we miss you, Alex, and we hope that you come back soon. Anyway, so the link is available in the description. If anyone would like to join in and share your experience or talk about anything, feel free to join in. I have put the link in the chat as well. So please feel free to join and share your experience. If you'd like to talk about paranormal, if you would like to talk about any horror movie, anything, please feel free to join in, and I am available for almost an hour right now, so we can discuss, we can share a lot of new stories. So, before we begin with the live stream, okay, first thing I would like to tell you is that you need to like this stream, because a lot of people are consuming my episodes, the live streams as well, but I can see a lot of people are not liking the stream, which is kind of bad, because that's the way you're going to support me. So you need to support me by liking the stream. A lot of people are not subscribing yet, so please do subscribe to my channel, because this is going to motivate me. This is going to help me to grow my channel, and that's all what I need right now. So yeah, that's how the thing is. And wow, and we already have our first caller, and that is Swati Rao. She's not our caller, she's the co-host. So Swati, I am going to get you in 3, 2, and 1.
Hello everyone. Hello Desmond.
Hi, Swati. I was not expecting you, to be very honest.
I actually joined earlier, but nobody was online.
Yeah, because I kind of fell off to sleep. You can still see I'm kind of still sleepy, because suddenly it started raining here, and it was raining extremely heavy. So the weather was nice, so I kind of fell off to sleep. I was supposed to start way before, like 1 hour before.
Yeah, and I messaged you as well. I was like, why is nobody online?
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, I woke up, and that's how. This is the live stream now. So, Swati, in our last live stream, we had a lot of discussion, and then we got a feedback that we should talk about a particular topic, which is the World War II ghost stories.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, I kind of researched about it, but I am not 100% prepared because I still need to read more about it, and then only it will make sense for me to talk about this. Do you have any idea about the whole concept, or do you have any couple of stories related to that, or should we keep this theme for our next live stream?
I do have a story because you told me what the theme was going to be. So I did. I
Hmm.
just read a little bit, but I only have one story. So yeah,
Hmm.
do you want to save the theme for next time where where you have more stories, or if you're okay with one story, I'll go ahead.
Anything will do for now. Or do you have any other story or anything else, or do you have any other topic which we can discuss? What is there in your mind?
Sure. Okay. So you have do you okay? So under World War Two ghosts,
Hmm.
you have not read any story in particular that you like that you want to talk about today.
No, I don't have anything right now.
Okay, okay. Well, if you don't, then we'll like switch the theme because then you will only listen to my one story and then be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for the next live stream, I also can be prepared in terms of the World War II ghost stories and everything around that. So we can keep that for the next live stream. We can talk about something else.
Sure.
uh, Let me just read the chats. Hani Pasha is saying, I'm eating bacon and egg. Congratulations to you. I hope you're not drinking, Hani Pasha, because that's what he does in all the live streams. He's always high. I hope you're not high tonight.
Hani
Priyank,
Pasha, are you from Germany?
yes, he is from Germany.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Priyanka is saying, hey, hello, Des and Swati. Hi, Priyanka.
Hi, Priyanka.
Hani is saying, I have a lot of World War II stories from Germany.
Of
Google
course,
about the
he lives there
haunted.
as well.
Yes. But Hani Pasha, you should also join the live stream, and you should share something. If you are comfortable, then feel free to join in. The link is there in the description. Or anyone else who is watching us right now, listening to us right now, they can join the stream and they can share. Our conversations will go on, me and Swati. Our conversations will keep going on, but feel free to join in anytime if you'd like to add something, if you'd like to share your experience. So, yeah. So, Swati, what can we do for tonight's live stream?
So for tonight, since we're not talking about the World War Two story, I wanted to know what do you guys, that is the host, including the host and people listening, think about haunted hotels, or not necessarily hotel, but
Hmm.
any place outside your home that you stayed in, which should be a guest house, farmhouse, hotel, and you've had like a paranormal experience.
Yeah, that's interesting. We can talk everything. All the stories can be in and around the haunted hotels. I also have couple of stories. Haunted hotels, but haunted
Because I have
hotels.
one story which I experienced, so I thought, okay, maybe it'll add when I speak about it as well.
Hmm. No problem. You can start. Meanwhile, I'll just open my folder and search the stories. So you can give me that time. So you can go
Priyanka is
ahead.
saying that she loves haunted hotel stories.
Is it? Why is that? I can't read that.
I just saw this. Where is it gone? This comment. She said, I love haunted hotel stories.
Oh shit! Why I can't read it? Is the stream also haunted?
I was about to say that.
I'm not sure. No, now I got it. Okay.
Yes, love haunted hotel story. You can see it.
Yes. I think so. Priyanka, you also had shared way before. I think so. It's been a year that you had shared an experience. So, Priyanka, was a cabin crew, and she had couple of amazing stories. And out of that, there was one haunted hotel story as well. So Priyanka, if you have time tonight, please feel free to join in. But Swati, we can start with the haunted hotels from your side, and then
Sure.
I'll also share my story.
Sure. So guys, I've actually shared the story on my podcast. You can listen to it on my podcast as well, which is called Desi Horror on Spotify. But for people who have, of course, you guys would have not listened to it on my podcast, so I'll share it today. So this happened a couple of years ago. I think it was in 2018, roughly, I would say 2018. And this was on the new year of 2018. So it was going to become 2019. So it was that kind of a period, 2018, December 30th. So me and my friends, we wanted to go out and party basically. And we didn't want to go to Goa and all these typical places because you know how crowded and expensive it is during the new year. So we thought, and we're not rich like Desmond to have our own house in Goa. So we thought, let's, you know, do the Garib kind of
Hmm.
plan and plan like middle class people and go
Hmm.
somewhere which is not expensive. So we
Hmm.
found this place called Canal. So Canal is actually the outskirts of Canal. So you have
Hmm.
Canal and the outskirt area is Canal. And Canal is very crowded and expensive on New Year because, of course, everybody knows it's a very famous hill station. So we went for Canal, which will be a cheaper option. So there is this very popular cottage there, which of course I wouldn't want to name because it's like literally if you put cottage in Mede Canal, it will show up in like the top five. So it wouldn't be
Hmm.
fair to use the name and ruin someone's livelihood. I went at that point of time. That cottage, which is now showing up in top five on Google, it was not popular. It was something that I hunted and I found in 2018.
Hmm.
I was like going through a lot of blogs and travelers pages and all of that. And I found that cottage, and I called the owner, and the owner is an old person. And I spoke to him, and I told him that hey, it's me and it's my friends, and it's like a girls trip basically. Me and my girlfriends are coming, and blah blah. So he seemed like a really nice man, and he gave me a good discount and everything because it was not so popular as Kodaikanal. So he was okay with us coming, and everything was fine. And then we went there on December 30th, and he was really sweet, because we were coming and he knew it was New Year and we were going to have a party. He gave us the part of the cottage which had a fireplace.
Hmm.
He put in the wood, and he was making it warm for us. He was a very nice owner, and the cottage itself is really beautiful. So it's not fancy, like you're not talking about like a five-star fancy cottage. This was like a really simple but beautiful cottage. So it's like you have two floors. The ground floor is where the owner of the cottage stays, who's an old person, and then you have the two floors above the ground, which is actually the cottage part, which is rented out to guests. And it's like something that you would see in like if you look at a movie or a commercial, and they go and
Hmm.
take it in a small town, that kind of a cottage. It had that kind of a look to it. A lot of it was wooden, which is why it was very beautiful, because these wooden cottages naturally look really nice. And then it was very spacious, like big living room, big bedrooms, and in the center of the living room was the fireplace. So you could actually to collect the wood. I mean, he would collect the wood, the owner, and he would keep it ready, and then you could light up the fireplace if you want to. So very very nicely built and very old as well. So we took the first floor. We had rented out the first floor, and it was me and around three friends, so totally four people, and four of us were there. And on 30th night, or rather, we decided to just sleep and not do anything, because we were prepping for 31st, which is what we wanted to party and of course drink, and that typical 31st thing.
Hmm.
So we prepped. We went out on 30th. We had fun. We came back, and then on 31st, we drank a lot, of course. Whoever is listening and has any problems with alcohol, I'm sorry, I cannot do anything about it. That day we drank a lot, so there's no way I can hide this part of the story. It's quite
Hmm.
prominent to the story. So we drank a lot and we partied in the house. It was a typical home party with girls. what all we do. We watch movies and all that typical stuff. It was a lot of fun. We didn't go out or do any of the that Goa party type of thing. So then we decided at like 1 a.m. that it's okay, it's time to sleep because we've really overdone this. And we were also hungry because we didn't cook since we were only busy drinking and chatting and eating snacks. So we were also really hungry. So we thought, let's just sleep. In the morning, we're going to wake up and eat properly. So all of
Hmm.
us went to sleep, and the area around us, the street around us, was super noisy because it was 31st. People were I mean, it had become first by then, so everybody was celebrating. They were on the streets and everything. So everything was pretty loud. It's not like an isolated area or anything of that sort. And then what happened was I went to sleep, and then I woke up at around, I think, 2:30, 2:33. That was the period I woke up, and I had to use the bathroom. And when I woke
Hmm.
up, it was completely dark because we had turned off all the lights, and we were sleeping. So of course it was going to be very dark, and the road had become silent because all the partying had stopped and people had gone off to sleep. So the road was like completely silent. The area was silent. The house was like dead silent. So I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I'm just going to use the bathroom without waking up anybody. And I turned on the bed light, and then I decided to walk to the bathroom because as I explained in the beginning, the house is large, big living room, big bedrooms, and in the center you have the fireplace. It's not a
Hmm.
small house, so it's not like I take 5 steps and I'm at the bathroom. You have to walk for a couple of steps and get to the bathroom. So I passed the living room. My all my friends were no, sorry, two of my friends were in the living room, two of my friends in the bedroom. So I passed the living room, and then I passed the bedroom, and then you get to the bathroom. By the
Hmm.
time I got to the bathroom, I started feeling very weird, like, a very uneasy sensation. Like, something weird is going on. And it was not internal. If in case people are going to be like, yeah, you got drunk and now you're trying to sober up. No, it wasn't internal. It was
Hmm.
external.
Hmm.
It was an external feeling. I started feeling
Okay.
uneasy from outside, like there's something around me. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, what is going on? And though the bed light was on, it's not like it was super dark. I can see what is happening. Nothing was going on. Everything was fine. All my girlfriends were sleeping, but I couldn't stop feeling that uneasiness that was
Hmm.
around me. And I was thinking, okay, this is weird. Maybe it's the alcohol. Did I drink too much that I'm imagining this? So then I thought, okay, let me wake up my friend. So I walked back to the bedroom. So it's the living room, then it's the bedroom, and then it's the bathroom. So instead of walking all the way to the living room, I just walked to the bedroom, and then I woke up one of my girlfriends. So I told her that, hey, can you come with me and wait outside the bathroom? And she was like, what is wrong with you? Why do I need to do that? So then I was like, no, I'm feeling a little strange. I feel something's wrong. I want you to come. And she was very sleepy and drunk, of course. So she
Hmm.
was like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to come and stand over there. Go finish your business. So then she walked with me to the bathroom area and stood outside the bathroom. And then what
Hmm.
happened? Before I could enter the bathroom, she started feeling uneasy, and she was like, "I'm feeling uneasy now. Is it because you told me I'm feeling uneasy, or am I naturally feeling uneasy?" So I was like, "No, I'm telling you, it's not. There is something weird that you feel this external presence, like there is something in that space that is watching you." And then
Hmm.
she said, okay, maybe we both are just drunk because we drank a lot, and we've woken up so in the middle of this night, in the night. It's maybe not, it's not anything creepy. So I thought, okay, fine, it must be that only. So I finished using the bathroom, then I came out. She was waiting for me, and she had a very weird expression on her face, like, oh god, what is happening? And I was like, okay, let's just go back to bed. And then she went to sleep, and she went to the bedroom, and I was back in the living room. And I couldn't fall asleep because now I was completely alert. All the
Hmm.
alcohol from my system had gone because of this alertness. Everything, whatever high I was feeling, everything is gone at this point. And I was very alert. Like, when your adrenaline rush happens, whatever you've taken in the system is out, and now you know everything that is going on. I was not able to fall asleep. I felt like in that room, in the corner of that room, there was something that is watching me. And I know there was nothing because the bed light is on. I made sure I kept the bed light on. I did not want to go back to sleep in the darkness. So I kept the bed light on, and I knew that there is something, but I'm not able to put it in words. What is this kind of thing that I feel is watching me? So I tried to wake up my other friend who was sleeping next to me at that point, and I told her that, "Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up!" And she was like dead to the what do you call dead to the world.
World. Eh?
So I tried to wake her up, like, do you feel anything? Do you feel anything? But she was like, I don't know what she had drunk. She was completely out. So I thought, okay, let me just let this go and try to fall asleep. And I couldn't, the whole night I went in and out of sleep, of course, but it was not like before. It was
Hmm.
just like a very disturbed kind of sleep. And then we woke up in the morning and we had breakfast, and it was just a normal day, except it was the 1st of January. So
Hmm.
everyone was, in a happy mood. The streets also, people were screaming and celebrating and all the usual. So we ate and we were back to normal, or we had sobered down. And then we wanted to go sightseeing on that day, and then everybody got ready, and I got ready a little early because I wanted to go and speak to the owner.
Hmm.
So everybody was still getting ready. I got ready, then I went downstairs, and then I spoke to the owner, who was an old man. So I did not bring this issue up at all. I just said, Happy New Year, and all the usual conversation. And then I just casually asked him about it, like, has anything ever happened in this house before? Anything bad? Did you buy this house from someone, or did you build it? So he told me, no, I didn't build it. I just bought it from someone. Someone was selling it, so I bought it. And no, nothing bad has happened because I've never heard any complaints as such. And I've lived here for a while, and it's just a normal place. Oh, so I thought, okay, then it doesn't have any, maybe he doesn't know it has any history or something of that sort. So I just casually mentioned it to him. I told him that, last night I felt something in that room, like in the corner of the room. I felt that there's something looking at me, but I was not able to put it in words because I was also, a little drunk, and my other
Hmm.
friends also were drunk, and I don't know whether it's that or it's real. But I also became alert. I used the bathroom. I came back. I was awake. I became alert, and despite that, I could still feel that presence. And I thought he's going to laugh at me and be like, oh God, how stupid. It was just, your imagination. But he didn't. He was like, well, I'm not surprised. And I was like, oh, but you said nothing bad has happened in the house. You said you've never got any complaints, and how can it be then? So
Hmm.
he said, oh, I'm not surprised that you experience something like this because every house comes with a history, and I bought this house from someone else. So it could be that,
Okay.
that this house has a history that I don't know of. And just because this thing didn't reveal itself to other guests, that doesn't mean it should be the same for you. It depends on how energies reveal themselves to, people or entities, how they reveal themselves to people. And some people are also very sensitive. They can sense it, but others can't. So he
Hmm.
believes that maybe you are a sensitive person who could sense it, or maybe, the entity chose to show itself to you, and that is why you felt it. So I'm not surprised.
Hmm.
And I was extremely shocked because I was expecting him to be just, say that, oh no, it's just your imagination. But he acknowledged it. So I thought, okay, wow, this was not, something that I imagined or because I was drunk or any of that sort. And then I went back upstairs, and everybody was like ready to leave for the day. And then we went out. We went sightseeing. There's some really beautiful places in Vaticanal to see. So we went to this. We went roaming around, and then I casually brought it up with the friend of mine who waited outside the restroom for me. So I asked her, like, "Hey, how did you sleep? Or did you sleep okay? Was everything fine?" And she was like, "No, I couldn't sleep properly because I constantly felt like there was something in the corner of the room staring at me." And I had not communicated this with her. Like the previous night, I
Oh.
never said anything like this. I just said, "Do you feel uneasy?" That's it. And she said this to me before I could say it to her.
Oh.
She
So you are
herself felt
so
that,
you're both experience
the
something
exact same thing,
similar.
yes. She said that she also couldn't go back to sleep because she felt there was something in the exact spot I had it at. The corner of the room that was staring at her, even though there
Hmm.
was nothing, because, she had also turned on the bed light in the bedroom, but she couldn't fall asleep. She was like in and out, in and out. And we asked our other friends, but they were dead asleep, in the night, so they didn't experience it. It was only both of us. And I told her what the owner said, and she was like, okay, I think what he said is true, that maybe the other guests didn't experience it because the entity chose not to reveal itself, but maybe we are
Hmm.
sensitive people where we could sense it, and that is
Hmm.
why we could feel it.
Yeah, it's quite creepy because see, if only you would have experience, or only your other friend would have experience, then maybe there might be a logical explanation saying that okay, they were drunk or whatever. But then two people experiencing the same thing, that
Yeah.
is kind of creepy.
Hmm.
Have you tried to like go to the like if you search on Google the hotel name, okay, then obviously on Google there will be reviews. So
No,
maybe
nothing at all. Because
nothing at all.
the reviews of this place are very, very good. That is why I booked it in the first place. It was not so popular back then.
Hmm.
Now it has become very popular. But if you look at all the reviews, very good reviews. And there's not, of course, there will be good reviews because the owner is really nice. The owner is really
Hmm.
nice. The place is very beautiful. But no review has spoken about this part of it. Because what I did after that was, I actually
Hmm.
forgot about this place after that because I mean, it didn't cross my mind. We never went back to that area.
Hmm.
But later on, during COVID and other things, when
Hmm.
I was sitting at home and being jobless, basically, I was
Hmm.
like, oh, wait, what happened to this place? And then I checked the reviews and everything, and I realized, okay, it actually became very popular. And I went through all the reviews, and there was nothing at all about anything of this sort.
So maybe it can be this way that no one wants to put out their experience, and if, for example, if you would be the first person to put out a review, something like this, where
Hmm.
you can put a question mark saying that did anyone else also experience the same thing? I feel maybe you never know. A lot of experience might come out. Maybe not. It will be extremely bad, obviously, to put it on the Google
Yeah,
review, and
because it'll affect the old
it
man's.
affect.
Yeah,
Yeah, it will that. But you need to find a way. Maybe open a Facebook group or something, or some group somewhere, and because a lot of haunted hotel stories are coming out this way because one family or one person will experience that, but they will not tell that. They'll only tell their group circle. But if you put it on Google or if you put it somewhere and someone else also hears that, then you might come to know if it is actually true. It is, or maybe only y'all both have experienced that and no one else has experienced that. And maybe the owner of the hotel might be so nice that he does not want to defame the hotel, because obviously it will affect his business. So he also is trying to be cool in the sense, like not to reveal a lot of things.
right,
you
right.
never you
Yeah, it's
never
totally
know.
possible. Yeah.
You never know, he might be knowing a lot of things, but he just don't want to share that, because obviously the guest will be scared to stay in such hotels. So
Yeah, yeah. Also, it's his only source of livelihood because I mentioned it's a big cottage, but you can rent out it only to two guests at a time. Like there are two floors, and you can give it
hmm,
only to two families or two groups of friends at a time. So, if he starts talking about this, then what if he doesn't even get that, booking?
hmm. But then if you see around the world, there are certain kinds of hotels which they themselves promote, saying that it is a haunted hotel, not the complete hotel, where maybe one room is haunted or XYZ.
Correct,
and
correct.
where and
Yeah,
where a lot of tourists get attracted to that as well, and they go to search this to stay in the hotel just for the chills and experience.
yeah. Right, right. But it
I
could
would know.
also be that what he
Hmm.
said, that only
Hmm.
certain people who are sensitive experience it, but not everybody. It could
Hmm.
be that, let's say, for example, you are someone who's sensitive, you
Hmm.
experience it, but let's say your friend does not feel any such thing.
Hmm. So eventually, you guys did not see anything. It's just that you all felt like someone is there standing
Yes,
in the
it's a
corner of the room.
presence. It's not a visible thing. And a lot of articles that I've read online,
Hmm.
which seem more realistic compared to these exaggerated articles, seem more along these lines, that it's more about feeling than seeing, because
Hmm.
energies are something that you feel, right? And
Correct.
ghosts are ultimately energies, and that is why even in you see these ghost investigations or paranormal investigations, you always
Hmm.
come across this term called cold spot. And
Hmm.
cold spot is because that entity is in that area, so that is why the energy feels cold. It sucked
Hmm.
all the heat out of the air.
Hmm.
So it's more realistic when you look at it as a feeling rather than a sight.
Yes, it's more, yeah, yeah, it makes more sense because, and like, were you getting a very negative feeling during that process, like when you felt, or like something heavy? What
No,
was?
not negative. None of that
Hmm.
exaggerated stuff like I'm feeling so negative, something is going to attack me. None of that. It was
Hmm.
just a heaviness in the air that, there is someone standing in that corner of the room watching you, and that
Hmm.
kind of cold air feeling, which is the cold spot, which a lot of investigators talk about. But
Hmm.
nothing negative, just a heaviness, coldness in that spot, and a
Hmm.
sense of uneasiness because you're not able to see this person or this entity, but you know that okay, this person is watching.
Hmm. Makes sense. Kind of creepy. Let me just read the chats. Hani Pasha. I think so. Hani Pasha is for sure he's drunk because I was when you were narrating the story that time only I was reading the chats. So yeah. So Hani Pasha is saying if you come to Germany, I'll take you to a haunted house where Nazis killed an entire family. You can still hear kids screaming in pain, followed by an unnerving sounds of a machine gun. Oh my god. Are you also Swati? Are you also based right now in Germany by any
Yes,
chance?
I'm also based in Berlin, just like Hani Pasha.
Okay. Hani is also saying I also party every weekend. Last Saturday I drank till 5 a.m. and woke up at 5 a.m. on Monday morning.
So Berlin is a place for party people, so I'm not surprised. And
Hmm.
Berlin does have some haunted spots, like Hani Pasha is mentioning.
Hmm.
Just that I haven't experienced any personal hauntings. This is just stories that I read about online. But because I lived very long in India, I've experienced everything only there
So how long have you been in Germany as of now? Like,
for 1.5 years.
so you haven't like felt anything.
Nothing like the Indian experiences. This place does not. I mean, I haven't visited anything that is super creepy or that kind of that eerie presence or any of that. Some things
Hmm.
that I have been creeped out in Germany is the houses because I stayed in very old houses. The current
Hmm.
house I'm staying in is new, but before this house, very
Hmm.
old house. I stayed in a 120-year-old house, and then I
Hmm.
stayed in another 100-year-old house. And
Hmm.
when the houses are that old, they come with a certain history. That is a little
Yeah.
creepy for me because both these houses, I was like, oh God, this house is so old and creaky. Because
Hmm.
every time in the night, when you're like walking around and stuff, you get these weird creaking noises because the
Hmm.
house is so old. So this definitely creeped me out for both the houses. Thankfully,
Hmm.
now I live in a new house, so I'm not, creeped out by this.
Are
And
you
one more thing
sure?
which is creepy. One more thing which is creepy in these old houses is one of my houses, the 120-year-old one.
Hmm.
It had, because it was that age, there were angels on the ceiling of the house, like literal angels, like, the sculpted angels.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah, there were these sculpted white color plaster of Paris or whatever material they've used.
Hmm.
There were angels literally on the ceiling of my house,
Hmm.
and there were angels in the entrance. When you enter the house, also there was like an arc, and there's angels
Hmm.
on the ceiling. Of course, that is not creepy because angels are supposed to be good, but
Hmm.
it just gives you that
Your creepy feeling, yeah.
that you're waking up in the middle of the night and you look up and there are these angels staring
Hmm.
back at you. That was
Hmm.
just uneasy.
But for sure, the houses which are like, 100, years old, a lot of families stayed. There might be a lot of history. People have died there. So, you never know out of maybe five, definitely two or three might have some backstory, might have some paranormal experience. You never know.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But whatever
So,
I've experienced in Germany is more from a creepy only from a age point of view. The angels one, old houses, but nothing where I can be sure, like in India, what happened. Like, yes, this is super strange, and this could be a paranormal incident. But
hmm.
people in Germany, like for example, the house that I lived in, both these houses, the
Hmm.
old ones, the humans were the creepy ones rather than the ghosts, because some of these people, like some of these, they were not, what do you call? I don't know which nationality they were, whether they were
Hmm.
German, Turkish, or whatever they were. Some
Hmm.
of them used to get very high on the weekends, like
Hmm.
because they have a huge party culture. Whether you're in Berlin or outside of Berlin, you they have a huge party culture. So they would get drunk on Fridays or Saturdays, and then
Hmm.
start knocking on people's windows like late in the night, and just knocking and walking away. And in
Oh.
the beginning, I didn't know that this was done for fun.
Hmm.
They just come and knock on your windows and say some strange things and go away.
Hmm.
I didn't know that. I was like, "Who? What is going on? Who's knocking on my windows at so late in the night?" And I used to
Hmm.
think that, oh my God, is it that my house is targeted, or are they going to attack me, or what is it? And then slowly, with time, I realized, okay, this is being done just for fun. But it was super creepy in the
Hmm.
beginning. Like one day I woke up at what, like 3 a.m. on a Saturday. It was a Saturday night, so it became like Sunday morning, 3 a.m. And there
Hmm.
was this random person just, knocking on the windows and saying
Oh.
some weird things like, my name is this, and my country is this, and all of that. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? This is worse than ghosts.
My God. Creepy, yeah, yeah. Actually, it's very true. Humans are more scarier than ghosts.
Very, very. And I have a friend as well who lives in Dusseldorf, like what
Hmm.
Hani Pasha has mentioned. He lived in a haunted house in Dusseldorf. So I also have a
Hmm.
friend in Dusseldorf. He had this roommate who used to
Hmm.
act like he was possessed. Like he would get
Hmm.
drunk on Fridays, and the
Hmm.
alcohol, I don't know what effect it used to have on his body. He would act totally possessed on Saturday, where he would come back home at like 2 or 3, start knocking on my friend's window, and just
Hmm.
stand there and stare.
Oh my God.
Just stand and stare in front of the window and keep knocking on it. And in the beginning, my friend thought, okay, he's just drunk, and he
Hmm.
it's just like how people become crazy when they drink. But it
Hmm.
wasn't like that at all. This was a weekly occurrence. Every
Oh.
Friday night, he'll get drunk and then start knock on my friend's window and just stand and stare.
Oh my God.
Super creepy. Humans are creepier at this point.
Yeah, they are creepier. I feel Hani Pasha is also more creepy because his comment is saying, I feel weird when I'm sober on a weekend. I can hear my whiskey bottle talking to me. This, this is the best comment. What on weekends? Weekdays, weekends, holidays, working day. In office also sometime I feel that the whiskey bottle is talking to me. So that much
And
is what
Hani
it is.
Pasha says he lived in a haunted house in Düsseldorf. Please
Mm.
elaborate.
Yes, Hani Pasha, if you are there. Too many comments. Sash boy is there. What's up, people? Sash boy. Sash boy saying, Swati, why don't you turn on your camera? That would
Because
make
I'm
the
a ghost.
conversation. Yeah, you never know. After after a few years, we come to know Swati was never alive and she died 100 years before. And it's a ghost who's come on the live
This
stream and
angel
talking.
house that I used to live in.
Yeah. Tatya Bichu saying left watching Mr. Nightmare to come here. Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you. But Tatya Bichu, Hani Pasha, do join in and be a part of the conversation as well. Uh,
Yes, Desmond, you said you're going to continue with your haunted hotels.
yes. So before that, if Sachit is still there, Swati, I told you that towards the end of the live stream, what we will do is, since the theme is haunted hotel, on live itself we'll try to create something, so that we'll do towards the end of the live stream. Is Sachit is there, even he can join in because even he knows the concept. Like we'll create a horror story right now, like with our imagination. So that will be towards the end of the live stream when Sachit joins in. So the story what I have, okay, is actually I've already narrated the story a couple of times and people might kill me for that. But I have one short story. Let me put it. One minute. Okay. So where it is gone? Where it is gone? Oh my god.
Hani Pasha is narrating his story in the comments.
Hani Pasha, please join in and share your story. Anyways, I'll read your comment once I finish my narration. Okay, so first of all, what I strongly believe that the hotels in India are more creepier as the hotels anywhere else. Now, it's not that I have stayed around the world, but most of the hotels where I've stayed, that is in India. And the creepiest part is, the hotels which, like the forts which are converted into hotels, like the forts are 100 200 years old and they are converted into hotels. This are more creepier, and you can say out of 10 at least 9 of such hotels are kind of haunted, because definitely back then, before British era also, the kings and queens, they used to stay there, and a lot of wars and fights and a lot of things has happened, and during British time a lot of things has happened as well. So this is a story basically from Pune. Okay, so there is a fort. Okay, but it was not like the main fort area, but it was just a part, okay, of one of the kings who was ruling back then, which is now converted into a museum come hotel. You can say it's not even a hotel, but it's just like a guest room kind of thing for not everyone, but you can say for the government officers. So this is how the fort is being converted, and there is one part where it's like a museum. There is an office as well, so it's all government related stuff happening in Pune. So what happens is that now the whole of Maharashtra, a lot of government officers are being transferred to different places in Maharashtra itself. So one of the officers had got their 2 years contract to be working in Pune, and then he was placed in this guest room where he had to stay, and then he had to do his, basically it was some construction work related, so he was staying there in the guest room. So now he was alone staying in the guest room, and then whenever his family from Mumbai used to visit, it used to be during the weekend, so they used to stay in the guest room itself. So most of the time he used to not stay in the guest room. Most of the time he used to be at work, and he used to only come there to have bath and go to sleep. That's it. So it was one of the weekends when the family was there in this guest room, where they kind of found something very weird. Now I will tell you what exactly they found, something strange and weird and creepy, towards the end of my story, but I'll tell you exactly what happened. So now during the weekend, the man is also there, the family is also there, so they're chilling in the room, then they go out, they're traveling, they're going out for lunch, XYZ, this, that, and all. So now it's not only one guest room, there are a couple of guest rooms. So now the wife, okay, it's been a while that they're every weekend they're coming, once in a while they're coming, in a month at least 2 to 3 times they're there in the weekends. So obviously sometimes the husband has to go for work during the weekends as well. So just to pass her time, the wife started having a conversation with the next person who's staying in the guest room, and that was also a female. So they're having a conversation, and it's been a couple of months, everything is going smooth. But the thing is, the wife never got a chance to tell her husband that, okay, I have also made a couple of friends in this guest room. Things are going smooth, and then suddenly, when the wife and husband was talking, this conversation or this topic came up, where the wife told the husband, are the person who's staying next to you, she told me XYZ. So the husband is asking, who is this person, who you're talking to? because obviously it's not one room, there are, 4 5 rooms, so he wanted to know exactly who is this person who the wife is talking to. So she said, the next room, so and so person name, this is there, we are talking, when you're at work sometimes, I get bored, so I sit and talk to her. So he says, okay, let me also, speak to this person, because there was a conversation which was going on about something. So even he wanted to know exactly what was happening or why it was happening. So he said, okay, tomorrow we will have a conversation with this female. So now the husband also meets this female. They're having a conversation, XYZ. But what is the creepy part is that female, who's the neighbor, she's telling everyone in that guest room that her husband is also working in somewhere, and and the husband is also staying in that guest room. So now this man tries to find out like who is her husband. So basically this is a guest house, and not everyone who's staying they work at the same place. They're working at different government places. So the husband is trying to find out who is this man and who is this female. So apparently what happened is that this is not a ghost story, but this is something which is creepy, because the neighbor, okay, her husband passed away long time before. You can say like 4 to 5 years before. But this female, she still comes and she still stays in that room. So this is what they got to know later on, okay, after finding out. And the explanation what the neighbor gave to everyone later on is that whenever I'm in the room, there is a particular time where my husband comes, he speaks to me, and he goes away. It's not throughout the day, but there's a particular time. So it was kind of hard to believe, but she said, no, I still want to come here, I still want to sit and talk to my husband. So apparently what had happened is that due to some issues, her husband had committed suicide in that same room. Okay, so now we are not sure if this is her husband itself who's coming and talking to her, or this is some demon or some spirit or something, we don't know. But this was something creepy, and this story I have read it from this website called as yourghoststories.com. It is a very long story, but I have tried to cut it short as much as I can. So this was the story, Swati, and everyone who's listening, that it was quite creepy for everyone to believe that. And she's very normal, in the story, like what they said, it's she's like very normal, and she's even vocal about it, that my husband passed away, and then once in a while I come here to speak to my husband. So the question is for everyone and for Swati, what do you believe? Is it a husband's spirit or soul who comes and speaks to her, or is it some demon? I would leave that to all of you. Hello, everyone left. Did Swati go to sleep by any chance? Was the story too long? Swati, you're still on mute, so even if you're talking, I'm not able to hear you. Anyways, I will read the chat still Swati does not bounce back. So Tatya Bichu saying the last man in the building named Desmond sat in his room on live stream all alone. There was a knock on the door. Oh my god. Oh my god. Honey, why are you typing so much? Why don't you come? I really want you to come and share something, bro. You have been there on our live stream for many times. Why don't you join in and you share a lot of stories? You have been telling that you'll be joining in, but you haven't. So please do join in and share your story. I'm not sure where Swati has gone. Did she go to sleep? Did she get disconnected? Not really sure. Anyone else who's there on the live stream would like to join in? We are talking about haunted hotels. So the story what I narrated was basically, you can't say it is like a haunted hotel, but yeah, it's like a guest room which is based in Pune, and really not sure if the woman was mad or she was going through that loss and that is why she just wanted to go there. She was kind of missing her husband so much that she could actually uh, see her husband in that guest room. Not really sure what exactly happened, but you know what is more creepier is that this kind of stories which are not finished, which does not have an ending, is more creepier, and it makes me think more that like what must have happened to that woman. Does she still go to that guest room? So it's kind of creepy and kind of strange. I feel Swati is a ghost because she's not responding at all. I'm not sure. Swati, are you there? Are you not there? Where are you? Anyways, we will carry on. So, so yeah, sorry, whoever is on the live stream, you know what to do. You know that you need to like the stream, you need to share the stream with your friends and family, and don't forget you need to subscribe to my channel as well, because that is very important. So this is a couple of things which I wanted to tell you. Now is, if Sachit is there, then if he's available, then he can join in. We can try to create a horror story, a haunted hotel horror story live, where we can, create something for you guys. So if you're there, please do join in, because Swati has left. I'm not sure. Oh, okay, let me do one work. I will. How do I remove Swati right now? Maybe her laptop or her phone must have got hanged or something. I'm really not sure why she's not responding. Anyways, Honey Pasha, why don't you join in if you're still available? Because I know you have a lot of stories, but I Tatya Bichu saying haunt my current house self-employed. Okay. Anyways, till Swati does not join in, what am I going to do is, since it is, we are talking about haunted hotels, I have a story which I will narrate till Swati does not join in. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I'm going to play some background music for you guys. Okay. Haunted Hotel. My last paranormal experience took place 2 months ago during my trip to Jaipur. My wife and I stayed in room 215 at the hotel. On March 5th at 2:30 a.m., an argument broke out in room 216 and woke me and my wife. We heard a couple who were fighting with each other, but curiously, we could not hear a word of what they were saying. We also heard some we also heard smashing objects, knocks, banging a wall, and door smashing. Suddenly, someone opened the door of room 216 and smashed it with a lot of force. Then we heard somebody running loudly in the hallway and banging on the walls and doors, including us. The person ran down the stairs and climbed back immediately before continuing hitting the walls and doors. Out of the blue, the individual started to turn the handle of our room as if he wanted to enter. I sat up on the bed to put my pants on, but my wife was holding my arm. She refused to let me go and have a look. It was our last night in Jaipur and she did not want anything to happen to us. Suddenly, I heard a liquid spreading outside our door as if a bucket of water was poured. I then got up from the bed. My wife told me not to go, but I told her that I had to do it in case a crazy guy pours gasoline on our door before setting it on fire. I grabbed an empty beer bottle and I opened the door. There was no one outside, no trace of liquid on the floor or on our door. The whole floor was quiet. I closed the door and told my wife that there was no one outside. My wife asked me to call the front desk. I told her we will see it in the morning and for now it's time to sleep. But what we experienced did not give us a peaceful sleep. In the morning, we went straight to the reception to tell the clerk what happened during that night. The employee replied to us that he was behind the counter all night and he had not seen or heard anything. Moreover, he assured me that the room 216 was unoccupied since Saturday. This was impossible. We were not hallucinating. The boy repeated that all the rooms on the second floor were unoccupied except our room and the room 214. But customers of the other room had left early in the morning. The conversation went on for 10 minutes and obviously it was not going anywhere. Then my wife told me that we should have our breakfast and get ready to go to the airport and pulled me away from the counter. Before we go, we had our breakfast. The employee suddenly revealed to us that he remembers now. Customers from room 214 had returned completely drunk late at night and had forgotten to take their key card at the reception. Then they started banging around and it became noisy. The clerk then went upstairs to give them their card. I asked them if he really believed what he said. If things really happened last night, why did he wait for 10 minutes to explain it? How could he forget such an event? And now, to explain the noises coming from room 216, the employee looked down. He lied, but why? During our lunch at the terrace, the waitress told us she could not help but to hear a conversation with the clerk at the reception. She told us that we were not the only one who experienced strange things on the second floor and many stories circulate about this hotel. Finally, she informed us that the corridors are equipped with camera. We thanked her and after a meal we headed to the reception. The clerk had finished his shift, and it was a young girl behind the counter. We explained to her about the incident, what had happened last night, and we requested to see the video recording. To our surprise, she immediately decided to take us to the CCTV camera room. She did some research on her device and invited us to look at the screen. At 2:30, nothing happened for 5 minutes. At 2:35, we could see me opening the door of our room and look in the hallway. After my inspection of the floor and the door, we could see me go back to the room and close the door. That's it. Unlike my previous paranormal experience, I was less afraid this time because my wife saw and heard the same thing as me. If we could if we could assume that I dreamed or we were drunk, we both would have not experienced the same thing. I strongly believe that we experienced something paranormal, but then when we checked with the hotel receptionist, with the hotel staff, everyone had different stories. And when we checked the CCTV camera, it was only me who was coming out, but no one else was found in that footage. So, this was our paranormal experience in a haunted hotel in Jaipur. Oh, that was something strange and creepy. And instead of Jaipur, I put another name. So sorry, it is haunted hotel in Jaipur. So, anyways, this was the story, which also I found on the website called as yourghoststories.com. Anyways, I think so, Swati. There is an issue. I'm really not sure.
I am back. I am back.
Okay, you're back.
I am
You
back.
got something happened.
In
You
the
got
middle of your story, my neighbor rang the bell. So I had to go
ah
and attend to what was happening.
okay, okay. Anyways, I narrated two stories. One, the Pune wala, and then the haunted hotel in Jaipur. Did you get to hear the haunted hotel in Jaipur?
Haunted Hotel in Jaipur, I heard bits of it,
Hmm.
but not your first story.
Haunted hotel. So I'll just keep it short for you. There's a couple. They had gone for a trip, and it was their last night in the hotel. So they were in room 216, and they were just having their dinner and watching TV XYZ, and then suddenly from the other room they could hear people screaming, and a lot of noises were there. And eventually, I think so, they assumed that there was a couple, they were fighting, and the fight came towards the corridor, towards the aisle space, where they could hear, and they could actually feel that someone was trying to open their door. Okay, they could see that the knob is going up and down. They could hear someone banging. They could hear that someone has poured some water front of their door. So now the wife is a bit scared, but the guy needs to know what exactly is happening. So somehow he takes a beer bottle, just for defense, and he goes out. When he opens his room ka door and he goes out, there is no one. There's absolutely silence. So he found it strange, but then they decided that okay, they'll sleep for the night, and then tomorrow they'll speak to the staff. So next morning when they go to the reception, they check. So the receptionist says no, there is nothing like this, XYZ, blah blah blah. Then after a while they go to have breakfast, and then they come back. Then the receptionist is saying that that the whole floor, the second floor wherever you were staying, no one was there, but there was only one uh, room which was occupied other than yours, and they were drunk, and I think so they were making some noise, XYZ. So so the guy is telling the receptionist that when I asked you for the first time, why you did not tell me this, why did you take so long to make up a story. So he knew that he's lying. And then after that, another staff told that it's better that you go and you check, because there is CCTV cameras as well. So you go and check. So when they go and they check, actually in the footage, the only thing which was captured is that the guy is coming outside. He's looking right, left, and he's going back. But the thing is, the scariest thing is that they could not find any evidence, but the staff was kind of hiding something. And it's not that only he experienced, they both could hear. Sometimes the walls are kind of thin and you can hear what is happening in the other room. So they could hear people screaming, they could hear people shouting, they could hear people going outside in the corridor and banging each and every door, going up and down, opening, trying to open their door. So it's not that they were kind of dreaming or they were drunk or whatever, but so that was the story.
And which country was this in?
Jaipur, Jaipur, Jaipur.
Okay, it's in Jaipur. This is the Jaipur story. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I would have been
yeah,
freaked out. I think
yeah.
the noises would have not freaked me out that much because I would have just thought, okay, someone is having a fight or whatever.
Hmm.
But opening the door and all of that, I would have just freaked out.
Yeah, because see, I would never open the door. I would just go to sleep quietly. जो करने का करो, मारने का
Exactly.
just
You don't
yeah,
want to be killed in this.
yeah. But what is the creepy part? Like, let's assume that you can hear things outside, noises are there, this, that, and all, because sometimes, see, even for work I have to travel to Dubai, so, and I'm staying in a hotel, and this is a hotel which is close to my workplace. So but there are clubs and restaurants in the hotel itself. So till 2 3 o'clock music is on and you can hear people talking XYZ, blah blah blah, this, that, and all. Imagine that you're listening to all this and next morning you get to know, like, nothing ever happened. Only there was no party, there was no one, and you're alone in the hotel. Just imagine that.
Yeah, that is
how
the scariest part because
how
you would have
scary it
just
will be.
thought it's some, drunken brawl, and then you
Hmm.
find out that nothing is going on, and
Hmm.
in fact, whereas you witnessed your room
Hmm.
being trying to, being trying to, the handle moving and people shouting. That is the scariest part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I also remembered similar kind of story where Priyanka, uh, who was there,
Priyanka
I
from
told her,
Anonymous.
yeah, she's her ex cabin crew. So so now cabin crews, they have to travel and they have to stay in hotels. So one of her colleague was telling her that she had a very long flight, I think so 12 hours flight or something, and then she straight went to the hotel and she was sleeping. Okay, and now when you have not slept for so long, you are absolute need complete silence and you don't need any disturbance. So this was around afternoon time where she was sleeping in her hotel room, and she could hear kids playing, not screaming but playing, like when they are playing they're screaming, oh, they're doing this, that, and all. And she could hear that outside her you know room. So for a while she was trying to adjust and all, but then she got very irritated and she decided that, let me go out and open the door and tell them to please go play somewhere else, I'm sleeping. But that did not happen, because when she opened the door, the same thing, there was no one. And that was, I think so, on the fourth or fifth floor. So when she opened the door, there was no one. There was no kids, close by, far away, there was no kids. So kind of creepy.
But did that hotel have some history or it was just a regular hotel?
It was a regular hotel and it was just her experience. Like, like, now I don't know other people experience this or no. I really don't know. But this is what she had told, because she had told this on my channel itself. But it's been a while. It's almost 2 years before that. Like, I think so. When we started that time, she had shared this story. Because the thing is, you never know, like, even a new constructed hotel can be haunted, or 100-year-old hotel can be haunted. So there are very creepy places, and I find India hotels more creepy, because I was telling everyone that the forts which are converted now into hotels are more creepier. because definitely there will be a lot of stories, because the kings and the British era, a lot of people have killed, wars, XYZ. So I would love to, go and stay in such kind of hotels. I've never got a chance, but Jaipur is a place, Rajasthan is a place which I want to go and stay in these hotels. Have you stayed in any such kind of hotels? Like, it gives you a very antique, creepy, old vibes.
Definitely, but not nothing as creepy as the story you mentioned. I would have
Hmm.
probably freaked out if that happened. I stayed
Hmm.
in some creepy places for sure, but I didn't experience something which is so extreme.
Hmm.
I stayed. There was a hotel that I stayed in when I was very young. I think I was 12 or 13. We took a trip to Ooty, and
Hmm.
that hotel is still quite popular. I think it'll come up in the first maybe 10 or 12 of hotels in Ooty. It's like
Hmm.
a heritage hotel which is really old,
Hmm.
and it's also now it's become very expensive. That time it was okayish, and everything is like wood. It's got like that, wood chandelier kind of hotel, like huge chandelier in the living room, and then everything is wood. So we stayed in one such hotel when I was very young, and that hotel gave me the creeps because of the age. Like every time you would walk, everything would start creaking, and in the night,
Oh.
if you just like twist and turn, again everything starts creaking.
Hmm.
So it gives you that really like eerie feel, like okay, what is wrong with this place? But nothing where I could say that okay, this is a paranormal experience. It was more from a uneasiness point of view. I do
Hmm.
have another story connected to hotels, but I will save that for a little later.
Yes, even I do have one more story. But now, this is a story which someone, had submitted by email. Okay. It's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah. But now I want you and people who are listening to let me know if this is something related to paranormal, or is this something related to your mindset. Okay. So the story goes this way, that okay, the female is in Goa. She's based in Goa. So she found my channel and then she said, even I have an experience to share. So she sent me an email. So she was in college back then, and she had to travel from Goa to another place which is like towards Goa border. And this was a trip with her family, and they had decided to stay for 2 days or 3 days. It was basically like a family vacation. So it was some kind of a resort or something which they were staying. So what happened is that now, since it's a big family, so all the cousins were staying in one room, all the uncles, aunties were staying in one room. So now the elders, they had got busy, drinking and partying, this, that, and all. So now the cousins, they were sitting in one room. And what Indian people do when you're sitting in a room, you need to talk about ghost stories. And this is what, their conversation was. They were talking about ghost stories, this, that, XYZ, everything. Everything was normal. They were kind of having fun. Then it became 2ish, 3ish something, and they fell off to sleep. Now something kind of happened to this particular female. So let's name her Priyanka. Now Priyanka was having conversations with her cousin, talking about ghost stories. They fell off to sleep. The next morning, when she got up, on her hand, okay, on her hand, one side of her hand, it was like basically like a nail mark, like someone had tried to grab her. Okay, but only on one hand, on her left hand. So now, when she got up, it was like kind of very painful, and she didn't know what to do. But then, they had to get up early as well at 7, 8 o'clock, because the family had to go to some for sightseeing or something. So she forgot about that, but she knew that it was paining. But her day, from the time she got up till she did not reach back to Goa, it was bad, in the sense, she was feeling very negative. She was not feeling positive. And nothing was going right in her life after that. So to cut short the story, when she came back to Goa also, she had couple of friends. Her friends also stopped talking to her. Everything started happening, in a very negative way in her life, where eventually she did not have a friends to talk to. Her parents were shouting at her for some reason, this, that, and all. And then one fine day, she was so kind of depressed and sad. And remember that pain is still there. The mark is gone, but the pain in the hand is still there. Okay. Her mother, tried to find out what's wrong, this, that, and all. So finally, she told her mother that, something is wrong, this, that, and all. And till now, she herself don't know that, there is a connection with the left hand, or there is this pain, something related to this. But she's telling yet, that morning when she got up, her hand is paining, and till to date, it's still paining, and things are going bad in my life. Y'all are also shouting at me. My friends also are not talking, this, that, and all. So the mother decides to, take her to the doctor first to check if anything is wrong with the hand and all. So the doctor said it's fine. They did even an X-ray, so everything was clean. So then now they decided to take her to the temple to say prayers and to do puja, this, that, and all. After coming back from the temple, you know, her pain stopped. Okay, everything was fine. So basically, her mother had told the panditji that iske saath aisa aisa hua hai, and you pray for her. So he prayed this, that. It was like almost like 45 minutes, 1 hour that prayers were on, puja was there. And when she came back, everything was fine. Immediately when she came back home, her friends who used to not talk to her started messaging her. So now she had asked me the question, which I have an answer, but I would like to know from you and from people who are listening. See, my perspective about this is that I'm not sure if it is related to paranormal, because I did have a conversation with her, because I kind of was chatting with her on Facebook and trying to find out what exactly happened. So for me there are two things. First thing is, maybe because she was talking about ghost stories, this, that, and all, so maybe she must have got scared and she must have caught her own hand and she must have pressed it in that fear, and she must have pressed it in so much of force that it started paining. And then whatever happened after that, that was just pure coincidence. But then when I was talking to her, she said that unfortunately, when she was going through all this, she kind of also researched about that hotel, where she got to know from people, from Goa, you get to know that that particular hotel is kind of haunted, and people have also experienced different paranormal incidents there. So now I'm still not sure and I'm still not convinced that if this is all her mind which is tricking her, that no, it is it is haunted. So she experienced, they were talking about ghost stories, that is why she experienced. So what do you feel? What is your perspective about this?
Thing is, the setting seems like, the setting was such that
Hmm.
the last thing she did before she fell asleep was talk about scary stuff, basically. That was
Hmm.
the setting that was created, the atmosphere.
Hmm.
So it could be that, when it could happen to any of us. Like, for example, if even if I have to take my case, if
Hmm.
I'm deep in this conversation, and that is the last thing I remember before falling asleep,
Hmm.
and then I wake up and I see something, automatically I connect it to, okay, it is something paranormal, because what else could it be?
Hmm.
But I feel it may not be that in this case. It could be a trick of the mind, and then after that, whatever happened to her was a coincidence. So it doesn't seem like, it's a short paranormal incident.
Yeah, even I did not believe, because to be very honest, like, now I speak to a lot of people, then I read a lot of stories. So eventually you get to know which is kind of genuine, which is kind of, the person's imagination. Because I still believe and I still tell everyone that 95% of the stories what we hear, it's just your mind playing with you, because you must have watched a horror movie, or you must have spoken to your friends about paranormal stuff, this, that, and all, because genuinely it happens. For me also it happens that, when we go to watch a horror movie in theater, the minute when you come out, everything, whatever happens, you'll connect that to, paranormal or something ghostly thing. But if you're not thinking that and something happens, you will not even connect that to paranormal. So it's just your mind which tricks you.
Also, many times you are looking to connect. Even if it's
Yes.
not there, you
Hmm.
want to create a connection.
Yes, you'll try to imagine, and you know what we normal human being try to imagine the same kind of ghost what we have seen in movies. Like this has actually happened to me. Like like I can sense something, in the room, but I'm trying to search an image, and what was coming in my mind is the nun, the movie Nun. That thing was coming. So sometime, we even imagine what we see, especially the ghost in the movies what we see in Hollywood, not Bollywood, because Bollywood ones, if you want to laugh or something, then you can imagine the Bollywood ghost, because they are kind of funny. But if you want to creep yourself out, yeah, the Hollywood ones are creepy, because their makeup and all is quite interesting and amazing. So yeah, so even you feel the same thing, right? That that was not
Yeah,
a
it could just
paranormal.
yeah, it could just be a case of coincidence plus her mind playing tricks on her. And many times, like you mentioned as well, you're looking to connect it, even if
Hmm.
there isn't a connection. And
Hmm,
this
hmm,
could
hmm,
happen with anyone who is in that zone. Like you
hmm,
are a paranormal enthusiast, I am, maybe she could have been, or
hmm,
she may not be, maybe at that level that you are in terms of
hmm,
interest. Maybe her
hmm,
interest not that much, but if let's say she's a believer, then a
hmm.
believer is enough to connect, to want to connect.
Yes.
And even
That.
I do that many times because I'm highly interested in this topic.
Hmm,
If I hear certain noises or I feel certain sensations, I will
hmm,
immediately try to think of it as okay, something really creepy is happening. I think it's this, I think it's that, and I'll try to, like, come up with all kinds of explanation. But when I actually sit down and think about it, or I try to do some research online, I realize that okay, this is not. I mean, I'm just like forcing these connections. I don't think it was that. It was just a coincidence.
hmm. Yeah, makes sense. And see, I keep telling in most of my live stream that it's all in your mind. Okay, and whatever we do right now, whatever we are talking about, the live streams, my episodes, even Swati has her own podcast. This is basically for entertainment. Do not believe everything. Okay, it's mainly for entertainment. Sometimes we kind of create also, we add some background music, so you guys need to consume horror content, but do not believe. And even if you're believing, don't get affected with that, because that is what we do want. We want you guys to enjoy uh, horror stuff. True or not, Swati? Yes or no?
Again, that doesn't mean that for example, I'm a personal believer of supernatural,
Hmm.
so that doesn't mean that we are saying that okay, it doesn't exist. Because I'm a
Hmm.
believer, I am very sure that it exists, and that is why I have this podcast and listen
Hmm.
to these stories. But the belief is such that only when all explanations fail, then I'm like
Hmm.
okay, then it could be this.
Yes, yeah. Even I do believe, a lot of people who consume also they believe, but we need to, there's a thin line between, the
So,
reality and blind faith. I don't want people to have blind faith, which is very important, because, like, for example, you will meet people in India or anywhere, like, do this and your life will be set, or do this and that and XYZ, or there is a demon in your house, give money to this person, that person. You go to the villages and all, a lot of people are tricked that way. So, yes, ghosts do exist. There is something which is we cannot explain. That is why it's called paranormal. But yes, also try to understand what is the difference between the reality and the blind faith. That's what I can say. So Swati, I think so. You have one story, so we can have that story, and then that will be the last story, and then we can end the live stream because it's 1 hour 27 minutes now. So you have another one, right?
Yes, I have another one. Just give me a minute though,
No problem.
so
Till
that
then, people, whoever is there, don't forget you need to like, share, and subscribe. That's how you're going to help each other to grow the community. So please do that. If you haven't liked the stream, please do like the stream, and we will wait for Swati to share her story. Also, Swati, if you can okay, I will try to get your podcast link. If you have, then you try to put it, but if not, I will just search it right now.
I cannot type in the messages. It's not allowing me to type. It says
What?
sending messages is only supported for the host.
Okay, Karas, I will. I've got it. I'll put it. So, people who are new to the channel, Swati also has her own podcast, and it's basically on Spotify. So, I'm putting the link here right now. So, you guys can go and check her channel as well. You can support her as well. And you can support everyone who does horror content or any creator you need to support. That's what we need right now. So, yeah, this is the link. What's the name? Desi Horror Podcast.
Correct.
Okay, that's the name, Desi Horror Podcast. So go check her episodes out as well. Follow her on Instagram wherever you can. Yes, Swati, are you ready? Or should I keep talking more?
I'm ready. So
Okay.
this episode has not yet released on the podcast,
Hmm.
but I'm sure it will release soon on the podcast. So I will talk about it first here, exclusive content for Desmond Fernandez live stream, and
Wow.
release it on my podcast. So as I said earlier, it was not just about hotels. It's also about places that you stayed outside of your house. Like in my case, I stayed in a cottage in Vetekanal. It could be a farmhouse. It could be a hotel. So one which I spoke about earlier was a cottage, and that was a feeling kind of an experience. I just felt it. So today's story, another one, is about a farmhouse. So my aunt actually lives in Tanjore. Tanjore is in Tamil Nadu for people who don't know. It's very famous for Tanjore paintings. Um, Tanjore paintings are very intricately done, beautiful works of gods and goddesses connected to the Hindu religion. So Tanjore paintings are also very expensive because they're handmade paintings. So this is what Tanjore is famous for. Tanjore is also famous for silk saris, kanjivaram, all of that, but that is largely Tamil Nadu in general. So my aunt actually lives here, and she lives here on a farmland. So this is an ancestral property that my aunt inherited from her husband's side, not from my mom's side or whatever. She got married, and her husband's side had this property, so she was living there. And it's a very very huge ancestral land. I think it's around 30-40 acres, and they have a farmhouse there, which is also their residential house, just that it looks like a farmhouse. So multiple floors and that whole Tamil Nadu small town feel to that house. And it's surrounded, this ancestral land is surrounded by other people's land. That entire area is like pieces of land and people living there with their farmhouses, and they're all in the agriculture business. Because of the amount of land available, they grow their own vegetables, fruits, and sell it. And they have cows. So you can imagine that scene. It's a typical small town South Indian farmland kind of a imagery that you will have to imagine. And my aunt has been living here for very long, and I used to visit her during the summer time when I was a child. Now as an adult, unfortunately, I don't. But when I was a child, every summer I used to go to Tanjore and stay in the farmhouse area, and it was a great experience as a child. Because I mean, as a city child, I'm from a city, and then you're going every summer to this farmland area. So I used to get to see the cows being milked, and coconuts every morning, and it was just a very beautiful experience overall. And again, this land is not haunted, nothing supernatural, just a very peaceful, beautiful place. So one summer, what happened, I think maybe I was 9 or 10, yeah, fourth or fifth standard. So I went here as usual for my summer vacation, and I was just doing my everyday activities, which was like playing and looking at the cows and plucking mangoes and all the usual stuff. Then what happened? There was a neighbor who used to stay in the next to this, this vast land that we my aunt owned. She stayed a little bit away from that, but in the same, what would you call it, um, region, is that the right word? Not region, but that same locality. Yeah, same locality, just next to that land. So her mother came and spoke to my aunt, saying that this girl is not going to be coming today to play with me or whatever, because I used to like have a bunch of friends there. So my aunt was like, why, what happened to her today? Swati is waiting for her and all of that. So this lady said that no, she's not feeling well. So we said, okay, fine, whatever, let's move on. And I had other friends, so it was not like I was dependent on her. So I was playing with the others, and it was just the usual. But then what happened, she stopped coming completely, like I never saw her for days. And I was wondering what happened to this female. And then I asked my aunt to ask the girl's mother repeatedly. Of course, as a child, you're very persistent. Like, why? What happened? Why is she not coming and playing with me? As an adult, however, we are like, we don't care. We just move on. But as a child, we are not like that. So finally, my aunt got fed up of me asking her so many times. So she asked the girl's mother, like, hey, what is it? Like, what has happened? Tell us what is wrong. Why is she not coming? So this lady told my aunt a very strange thing, which I don't know if it is true till date, but at that time I thought it was very scary. So we used to have a small river area very close to the land. So the concept of agricultural lands is that you must buy land only when there's a riverside close by, because you need it for irrigation of the crops and all of that bit. So that was the same concept. My aunt's land also was near the river. That girl's land also was near the river, and it was a small river, but a very valuable river for that region, because everybody used to use that river water for bathing and washing and all the usual things that happen in a Indian small town. So her mother told my aunt that she was spending, the daughter, the child was spending too much time near this river area, and that is why she had fallen sick. And my aunt didn't get the point, so she told me about it. And then I became very curious, and I was like, that's not making any sense. How can she fall sick just because she's spending time near the river? Even I'm spending time near the river. So my aunt was saying that, okay, let's not pry and find out the details. I'm sure they have some reasons. Now, I was a very curious child. I did not want to let this go. I just wanted to know, why is this girl not playing with me? Why is she not in this group? I have to go and find out. So I started asking everybody in the group, like, hey, you know what? She's fallen sick because she's spending too much time near the river. Oh, that is what her mother is saying. But that's not, but let's go to her house, let's go bring her out, let's go play with her. So my friends of that time, who were also from that same town, I was the only outsider. I was the only city girl who came and spent time in for summer, during summer. So they were like, actually, we can't do that, because even our parents asked us not to spend time near the river. And that time I became very curious, like, what is the problem with this river and that these people don't want to go there? So then I started asking them a lot of questions, and I started asking my aunt a lot of questions. A lot of people were apprehensive because I was just a child at that time, so they didn't want to like get into those details. But I kept pushing and pushing, and that girl was not coming and playing and everything, so they got fed up of me, in other words. So basically, the story is such that the river area, according to the folklore of that region, that Tanjore area, the folklore is that spirits, the spirits that they believe that have left, people after death or whatever, and they have not passed on to the afterlife for whatever reason. Maybe they missed their loved ones, or it was an unnatural death. So many reasons why the souls don't, decide to move on to the afterlife. They apparently are around that river area. They are around the river area, and they wait for children to come by so that they can basically attack the children. Not physically attack, they mean attack in the sense kind of capture the children's mind, like similar to like a possession kind of phenomena. Like, you're a vulnerable person, and then this entity wants to enter you because you're vulnerable. So they believe that if children go and spend too much time near this riverside, the souls which are, roaming around with looking for victims, children are the perfect victims, and they will enter the children. So that is why they should not spend too much time near the riverside, and that is why they would the villagers in that part of the place, including my aunt, they wouldn't send their children alone for too long near the river. It would always be for basic things, like if, for example, if they're having a bath, then yeah, go have a bath. If you're washing clothes, okay, wash clothes. You're going to get water for something, okay, but not like, sit and hang out, like go hang out with your friends and talk and play. No, that was not allowed. I never noticed this in the beginning because my aunt did the same for me. But I was very distracted. I had so many other things like plucking mangoes and playing with the cows and all of that, that my mind never focused on that one thing. Oh, why am I not going to the river and hanging out? Only after this girl stop playing with us and all of that, then I it kind of triggered it as to, yeah, why am I not playing near the riverside? And then I find out this story. And then I waited for that girl to recover. She took a few days and then she came back. She was normal. And then I asked her, like, what happened? Why, why you didn't come and play with us? So basically, she was just normally sick. There was nothing wrong with her. Just normally, she had fallen sick. But her parents connected it to the fact that she was spending too much time near the river because she had mysteriously fallen sick. Like everything was fine with her one day, but for the past few days, she was spending way too much time near the river. Like she would just go and sit near the riverside when she was bored. And like in the evening when there was nothing to do, because at that time, of course, there was no internet or there was no form of entertainment. And at that time, that village in that Tanjore area, they didn't have cable. There was no cable connection. I had cable because I was in a city, but once I went there, I didn't have cable connection, so there's not much entertainment. So she would just go near the river in the evening and just sit around and dream and do all of that. And she was doing that for the past couple of days, and then immediately she fell sick. So her parents connected it to the fact that this had happened because she was spending time near the river. And then she told me the same. She was like, I was fine one day, and the next day I just fell sick. So I don't want to take any chances. I will not be going there anymore, except for, of course, the basics. And I was very attracted to this because I was, as a child itself, very interested in this topic. So I started convincing all the other children as well. Come on, guys, let's go spend time near the river. I really want to see how this works. And they were like, no way. We are not crazy to do something like this. Someone has just fallen sick and recovered and come back, and you want us to go and put ourselves in danger. So I was like, okay, if you're not coming, I'm still going. So then I would wait for the evening time at around 3:34, when my aunt would get busy, because 3:34 is when they wake up from their afternoon nap and they start getting ready for tea and all of that. So at that time I was like, okay, she won't notice that I'm gone. She'll be thinking that I'm doing something else. So I would go and sit near the river, and I used to do this continuously for like a couple of days. Go sit there, do nothing, just look around and, like, wait. I used to think that if I just sit around and wait, something is going to happen. Of course, nothing like that ever happened. I would just sit around and wait. And then my aunt discovered that this is what I was up to after a couple of days. And she never let me go after that. She never let me go at that time, and it wasn't possible after that. So I was very disappointed that, okay, I never got to experience whatever these people are talking about. And whatever time I spent at that river was very pleasant. Nothing uneasy happened. Neither did I fall sick. So I was very upset, but I thought, okay, fine, now I can't create a scene. It is my aunt's house at the end of the day. So I just spent, the remainder of my vacation that year. It was normal. And then I went back to the city. The creepy part, what happened was, after that, a couple of years later, I think that was my last vacation there when I was 10 or 11. After that, I didn't go back. I got busy with school and everything. I stopped. That all that summer vacation there stopped. couple of years later, I remember and I asked my aunt, I think I was 16 or 17, and I asked her, like, hey, what happened to all those kids, that live near your place? How are they doing? I never came back to your place for summer vacation. Do they remember me? So my aunt was like, no, they are similar to you. They all, stopped hanging out because everybody went off to high school and college. It stopped. And I was like, oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah. But then she was like, but remember that girl who one day she stopped coming because she felt sick and then she came back and all of that. And I was like, yeah, I remember her parents were so superstitious about that river thing. And she
Hmm.
was like, that girl apparently the same girl, the one that
Hmm.
fell sick and then came back, she developed some kind of fascination towards that river because after that summer, she
Hmm.
started spending abnormal amounts of time near that river. And
Hmm.
despite her parents warning her, like her parents used to warn her, like you are overdoing it and we are not going to allow it, but she would find ways to go and spend time in that near that river area. And
Hmm.
then she started doing a lot of strange things. Like apparently that family was a vegetarian family. Um,
Hmm.
and she started eating non-veg. Like after because
Oh.
she developed this fascination towards that river after that summer. And then she
Hmm.
started eating non-veg and she would keep asking for non-veg from her parents, and her parents were not able to figure out what was wrong with her. And of course, it's a small town, so how the rumors would spread. And then everybody started talking about her that, something's wrong with her. She's spending time near the river. She's eating non-veg suddenly, out of the blue. And she became like this loner person. She wouldn't come out of her room. Like she would always be in her room. And
Hmm.
everybody basically started spreading these rumors about her that something she's probably possessed or something's wrong with her. That is why she's stuck in her room eating non-veg, blah blah. And her parents, because they're from a small town, they didn't take her to the hospital or a clinic or to a doctor to get her diagnosed, like what is actually wrong with her. They purely connected it with the fact that she's probably possessed by one of the souls that was roaming around near the riverside that got attracted to her, because she's a sensitive person. She had already fallen sick before because of this, and this had happened, and that is why she's eating meat and acting like an introvert and all of that. And she continued to fall sick, like she had become sick and then she continued to fall sick.
Hmm.
And their neighbors, who lived in the land, including my aunt, they pressured the family as to take her to a hospital, like don't just let it go, take her to a hospital. And the parents were not convinced. They thought that they should bring in a priest and all those typical things and see what happens.
Hmm.
Finally, after a lot of pressure, when her behavior became uncontrollable, like at one point apparently she became violent towards her own parents, like
Oh.
acting very similar to how a possessed person would act, like pushing
Hmm.
away people, acting crazy, eating meat, all of that, that typical psychotic behavior. So it became
Hmm.
uncontrollable, and then finally they took her to the hospital, and nobody knows what happened to her. My aunt also has no idea. Did she recover? Did she go to the city? Like what happened? Like her parents don't talk about it, like they don't want to speak to anyone about this. And anyway, now people are kind of private with their lives, so they won't speak
Hmm.
about it. The villagers have made up their own rumors and everything, but nobody knows in real what happened to her.
Oh.
My aunt told me
Shit.
all of this when I was like 16, 17. I was like, oh my god, the same girl, and so much has happened.
So you think that there was something connected to that river? There was,
I
and
think it could have been a case of mental health. Like she must have been a sensitive person. And the
hmm.
fact that people in the village had this folklore that the river is haunted, not haunted exactly. The river
But yeah.
has, these souls roaming around and you shouldn't spend too much time. She became attracted to that, that story. Like how I was attracted to that story because I also was very
Hmm.
attracted. And like I mentioned, I used to hide and
Correct.
run away at 3:34 and stay there. She must have been the same person, but could have been something, with a mental health issue, and that kind of combined with that and it got worse.
Yeah, because see, a lot of stories what we hear, and our parents used to say they said, they said, they said, they said. I used to always ask, who are this they? Who are these people? Because I remember that my grandmother, and we all, whenever we used to go to Goa for holidays, because back then I was staying in Mumbai, then we used to go for holidays to Goa. A lot of cousins were there. So my grandmother used to say, and we had a big field, and there was one part where she you should not allow us to go because of some reason, in the sense, because the crops were there, rice, something was there. That we realized when we became an adult, because now we tell our kids or people who are small, not to go there. But what my grandmother used to tell us is that, don't go there because a ghost is there and they will eat you up. So maybe such kind of stories have been carried forward for many generations, where it might be not actually true also. It might be just a parent must have just created that. So we as kids don't go there, we get scared and we come back. Like, don't go, because my mom also used to say in Goa that after 7 o'clock, if you go out, there is a ghost who is on the cycle and he will come and catch you and he'll kidnap you and he'll take you away. So that is why, with that fear, before it becomes dark, we used to reach home. We used to play and all, go here, then the field there, fall down on the road, do a lot of things. But the minute it becomes dark, we used to come home because we had that fear. But now people are kind of understanding. But back then, you never know, our parents, maybe their parents told them, and that is how it has carried forwarded. You never know. But I also feel that maybe something else must have happened in her life, but her parents might be connecting it to that village, because that is what happens sometimes. But you
And
never
also,
know.
probably they already had it in their mind that,
Yeah.
the river is a dangerous place.
Hmm.
So anything that happened to her, they connected it with the river.
And maybe her parents, matlab, her parents also must have told them that, do not go that river, because village also, their mindset is also kind of different. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but what we find logical, maybe it will still take some time for them to find it logical in villages. Because something happens, then they connect it to the supernatural and paranormal. That is why I say, there's a very thin line between reality and blind faith. And that this can be a example of blind faith as well, where the girl might actually be going through some depression or something, and or maybe she was actually hungry and she wanted to eat non-veg. Really don't know what was the story, but they must have connected to that. So yeah, kind of creepy. And it's good that we're discussing this, so that people who are listening, they also know that there's a lot of difference in the reality. You should always fact check, should always try to find a logical explanation behind everything. If you don't, then yes, there might be something which can't be explained.
Also, a lot of these symptoms can be connected to schizophrenia because schizophrenia is very different for each individual. Some
Yeah.
individuals experience voices inside their head. Some individuals look at, the people around them are different.
Hmm.
Some individuals create a new life for them in their head. So, schizophrenia is kind of different for each person. And a lot
Hmm.
of these cases are actually people with schizophrenia.
Yeah, you never know. Because there was a story where in the this is the same village ka story, but this is somewhere in Bihar or something, where the kid was getting fits. Okay, and fits is very normal, in the sense, like, it is, like, it's a condition. So we people who are staying in the city and all, we know, okay, because I have seen in my class also that couple of my classmates were getting fits and all. But in the village, they assume that like there was a ghost or someone possessed this child or something, and instead of taking the person to the doctor, they started doing these rituals, and they called this panditji and babas and this and that and all. And there are some fake people also, just for the sake of taking money from the family. The panditji or the baba told that something is wrong with your child, and there is a ghost, blah blah blah, did some puja, this that and all, took the money and ran away. So small incidents, small articles are there, where uh, in India especially, blind faith is to a next level. A lot of people don't know, because the Indian media is not covering a lot of things. But if you go and if you sit and if you actually, talk to these villagers, you'll get to know exactly a lot of stuff which we still don't know. So yeah, that was it. Anyways, it's almost 1 hour 51 minutes. Oh my god, almost 2 hours we are been talking and talking and talking. I think so. We should take a break. We should uh, end the live stream here. But before I go, for people who are still there, I would like to. 1 minute. So yeah,
We'll
if you
come back
guys,
next week with World War II stories.
yes. So yeah, next week the theme is World War Two ghost stories. Okay, so for sure we will be discussing about that. We will try to get some stories, and I would like to say thank you once again to Swati. So for people who don't know, Swati has her own podcast on Spotify, and it's called as Desi Horror. Even she talks about the paranormal, so go check it out. I've already put the link in the comment, so you can see this in the chat, so you can see this as well. So click the link or else directly search it on Spotify and go follow her as well, give her the support as well. And yes, that's all you need to do. Support each another, support us, like the stream, go follow her as well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. And we shall see you in our next live stream. Thank you, Swati, for joining in. And hopefully, next week, for sure, I will not sleep. I'll make my body not to sleep and we'll start the live stream on time. But even though we started late, people did join in. We still had a couple of people who were there, especially Hani Pasha, who is absolutely amazing in his chats. But it's been, from the time I think so I've started my live stream, he's there. Every time he says that he will come, he will come, he will come. But
And he
very
has horror stories for next week already
yes,
ready.
he's from Germany, and and yeah, there was one question which Hani asked me that do you have Alex's Instagram ID? So Hani, I just wanted to let you know Alex is not there on any of the social media channels. Even I asked him, but he said he's not there. So hopefully next week when we start early, that will be 11 o'clock Indian Standard Time, 11 p.m. So by then, I think so. Alex should also join in, because after 12 it becomes difficult for few of them to join in, because next day is also working. But for sure, I won't sleep, or maybe I'll sleep the whole day and I'll get up like 3 hours before and I'll keep everything ready. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Swati as well. So I shall end the live stream in three, two, and